The New Balance Furon 1.0, not even joking here, probably one of the worst top-end boots that I've worn in the last couple of years. Super uncomfortable, virtually unwearable, at least for me. The Furon 2.0 and 3.0 definitely made some improvements in regards to materials and overall comfort, but the general shape of the shoe and the features on offer still weren't up to par with everything else that you could buy for the same amount of money. The all-new Furon 4.0 completely changes things. Keep this up, New Balance, and Joma will be copying you in no time. What's going on, guys? Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new Balance Furon 4.0 Pro in the Otrusca Pack colorway. Now, it does maintain the same sole plate and stud pattern as the previous generation Furon model, but the upper, the shape, the overall fit and feel of the shoe is entirely different, and trust me when I say that they have made some dramatic improvements, all of which I'm going to be covering in today's video. We'll talk tech specs, everything you need to know, including how they fit, feel, and look on feet. So if you're interested in learning more, please stick around and watch the entire video. And if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below. That'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $250 retail price. Oh, forced that one. If you guys do end up enjoying the video, don't forget to support it with a like. And if you're new here watching for the first time, don't forget to hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. Included with the boots is a box, and you get a boot bag, white in color with red detailing, obviously the New Balance logo there on the front. If we're being honest with ourselves, it's a pretty subpar bag in regards to overall quality. It doesn't even have strings to wear it as a backpack, just strings to close the top of it. If I'm giving it a score out of 10, 3.48. I've never seen this happen before, but I literally just flexed the forefoot in my hands, and you can see the chrome finish actually flaking off and peeling as it flexes, which is super weird. Didn't happen with the Tekelas that I did a review on that has the exact same sole plate finish, but for whatever reason, it's just kind of falling off on its own. Never seen that before. Just to be clear, this is a wearable finish. It comes with a warning sticker letting you know that the finish will flake off over time, but won't affect the performance of the shoe. However, it is definitely very strange that it's coming off just from flexing the shoe in my hands. So starting off with the upper, the Furon 4.0 Pro is New Balance's speed boot offering. Now, I will say it does look quite a bit similar to that of the Tekela model that recently came out that I reviewed on the channel not too long ago. But trust me when I say that despite looking very similar, the two shoes are distinctively different in regards to how they fit and feel. This is true speed boot in regards to being much thinner, offering a barefoot feel, being more lightweight, and offering a much tighter, more responsive sensation on your feet in general. Now, the upper combines two elements that are pretty much all new from New Balance, even though it does have a returning element in the form of Phantom Fit. We've seen that technology on every generation of the New Balance Furon, but it has evolved quite a bit with each new model that has released, this by far being the best one. The Phantom Fit aspect of the upper is what you can see underneath in the form of this crisscross pattern, where there's basically cutouts as a base layer for what is a super thin synthetic upper with no extra padding whatsoever. That's gonna be what provides the main structure to the shoe. That actually feels quite good. The shoe has good flexibility to it. It's very thin and it doesn't feel plasticky, which has really been my complaint with a lot of New Balance synthetics, especially the original Furon that was borderline unwearable because of how stiff that mesh base upper was with its Phantom Fit technology. This feels significantly better. And then on top of that Phantom Fit base, you're gonna find what they're calling Hydroskin Touch Membrane, which is basically like a Nike Skin polyurethane top layer like you'll find on Nike's Flyknit boots. It's really nothing too fancy. It just sounds like a really fancy name, relatively smooth to the touch, kind of has a matte finish to it. No real extra grip here. It's just there to kind of fill in all the holes. I know this kind of looks like it's almost mesh and water could pass right through it, because we kind of saw a mesh style upper on the previous generation Furon. This is completely different and does feel more like a Teijin synthetic upper that we've seen on Nike Mercurial Vapors. That is a piece of the sole plate. It's just falling off as I talk. Moving on, just like the Takala, this does feature a one-piece upper construction, although it's not one seamless material across the top of the foot. The middle part is filled in with a synthetic leather material that's very, very thin. It has a slight amount of padding for the sake of lace bite and overall comfort, and it does have a slightly padded lining on the underside as well. And something strange that they've done, you can see it here, is that it extends over top of the underside of where the laces are. When they have a one-piece upper like this and it uses a dual lace hole system like this one does, typically the lace connection point, basically from that hole to that hole, would sit directly against your foot, but they've covered that up on this particular shoe for the sake of comfort. Is it really noticeable? No. Is it really necessary? No. But does it get in the way? No, so I really don't have any problems with it. Just something that I've never really seen before. Now with the one-piece upper construction, this central part doesn't stretch all that much, so it can make them a little bit tricky to put on. That's something you get used to pretty quickly though. And with the one-piece upper and the dual lace hole system that I just talked about, it's kind of unique, and they did this on the Takala as well, that the lace holes are in a straight line versus being staggered side by side, which is typically how they would do it. It makes the lacing system kind of look a little bit different when it's on your feet, but once the shoes are actually tied up, it's really something that feels perfectly normal. No issues with it whatsoever. Even though it's very shallow, the shoe feels very secure on your feet and overall pretty responsive. As thin as this upper is, it has enough structure to it, but at the same time doesn't feel overly stiff or rigid on your feet. So it's got the tight fit, it's got the barefoot feel, it's got good responsiveness and lockdown, plus it's decently comfortable, which is pretty much all you can ask for. Moving on to the heel area, New Balance finally got it right with the Furon, because they always seem to go for something a little bit strange in this area of the boot. It's a standard low cut, which I think is the best way to go if you're looking to make a speed boot, something that is as light as possible, because obviously if you make it mid-cut, it's just going to add extra weight, which kind of goes against the whole concept in the first place. Now, unlike the last two generations of Furon that had this kind of weird welded area around the edges and then a super thin liner, kind of built-in padding, this is much more traditional. It does have this kind of nylon material along the edges, which we see from a lot of boots these days. No real issue with that whatsoever. And then the heel liner is a smooth synthetic leather type material with a decent amount of padding. There's not a lot there, but there's enough where your heel is locked in securely and it's relatively comfortable, which again is a huge improvement over previous generation Furons. The insole is fully removable and identical to what you'll find on the Takala model. It features a mesh liner on top with this cool pattern that's actually within the mesh itself, so it's not going to wear away once you wear the shoes a couple of times, and it's an ortholite foam for the base material. Decent thickness, decent quality, not a bad insole, but certainly nothing too crazy. Moving on to the sole plate and stud pattern, it remains unchanged when compared to the previous generation Furon, which is not a bad thing, because I actually really like this setup. The sole plate on paper is listed as TPU with nylon inserts, exactly the same as the Takala model, but this is definitely stiffer when compared to the Takala. Is this something that's super noticeable once you actually have them broken in? No, it's got decent flexibility in the forefoot, good rigidity through the midfoot and heel. It feels like a solid sole plate, which is really all you can ask for. As far as the firm ground stud pattern is concerned, it looks crazier than it actually feels. You can see in the heel area, it's got two full-size kind of triangular bladed studs at the base of the heel, and then these two kind of mini studs, which the idea is to have more pressure on these two studs so they dig in more aggressively and just have shorter studs that are there more so as support rather than for the sake of traction. Does it feel weird? No, it feels pretty normal. Then you kind of have the same general concept happening in the forefoot. You have a toe pick stud a la Mercurial. You have these two studs right here, which again, very Mercurial-esque in regards to their positioning. One more here on the lateral side, and then some ones here at the base of the forefoot, and then these little toe pick studs at the very base of the forefoot, a couple in the middle as well. It's a very interesting layout. It's relatively aggressive on firm natural grass, this being a true firm ground stud pattern, technically not made for use on artificial grass. And it even has these little kind of toe pick pieces or little spikes, I guess you could call them, going around the edge, which again, they're so small, it's really difficult to say whether or not that's having any impact on traction. But as far as firm ground stud patterns go, this is definitely above average. And if you're looking for that aggressive speed boot style type of traction, you're definitely going to get it here from the New Balance Furon 4.0. Now, obviously this is a speed boot, so weight is pretty important. In a size 9.5 US, these guys weigh in at 8.3 ounces, which is by no means heavy, but it's not as light as other top-of-the-line speed boot models, especially ones you can buy for $250. For the sake of comparison, a Nike Mercurial Vapor 12 Elite, the latest $250 speed boot, from the Nike brand in the same size is going to weigh in at about 6.6 ounces, which is a fair bit lighter than the Furon 4.0. Again, are these going to feel heavy on your feet? Absolutely not, but when compared to the competition, they're definitely not quite as light. While the price has nothing to do with performance, it is worth noting that these are $250, which quite honestly, I think is too much money for a brand that is still establishing themselves in the soccer cleat world. They don't have much of a reputation, and when you're talking about the Furons especially, pretty much every single one, 2, or 3, they haven't been very good at all. So if you're expecting people to give the 4th generation Furon a shot at $250, I think that's a tall order when you do have options like the Vapor 12 Elite or the X17 Plus Pure Speed or just about any other top-end model from the big brands for $250 as options as well. Why would they buy a New Balance over those other options? That's why I think the price definitely needs to come down. It's possible that it's just this first colorway that's going to be $250 and future colorways will retail for less. If that's the case, that's probably a good thing for New Balance, but if they try to maintain this $250 retail price, I think they're going to have a really hard time selling these things because people simply aren't going to give them a shot at $250. As far as the look and colorway is concerned, this is the initial launch color in what they're calling the Otruska pack, just in time for the 2018 World Cup. White with red accents. It looks really, really clean. Obviously very similar looking to the Tekela, like I mentioned earlier, with the big difference that it doesn't say New Balance on the medial side fully written out. This just has the simple N New Balance logo on the lateral and medial side right in the middle. I think it looks pretty good. New Balance logo here on this extension piece in the tongue area, Furon logo on the back. And that's pretty much it as far as design elements are concerned. I like that you can see the pattern and layers of the actual upper itself. That does leave potential for kind of unique color combinations in terms of having a different base layer and a different top layer as far as colors are concerned. I do think it looks a little bit strange that the lacing system is so high up because you have so much open area, but that is a design element that's there for the sake of having a cleaner touch on the ball. So I can't really complain about that too much. And then of course the chrome sole plate, red in color, that as you can see does kind of flake off as you bend it. I'm not sure if I just have a bad pair. That's entirely possible because I've never seen this happen before with a chrome sole plate. Either way, it's a little bit of a bummer even though they do warn you, because if I did buy this pair for a collection, which I didn't, I plan on actually wearing these, and I just bent the sole plate for the sake of bending it, if I had a giant chunk flake off like that, I'd be pretty upset because now I have an imperfect pair for my collection. So something to be aware of if you're buying these for collection reasons, but if you're buying them to wear them, just know that the chrome finish on the sole plate is likely to chip away pretty quickly, and it looks like it's just regular chrome underneath. I'm not exactly sure. That'll probably flake off as well. I don't know what color it is, but either way, really good looking shoe, really good looking design. I'm personally a big fan. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. So as you can see, I swapped out the stock white laces, which are gonna get dirty really quickly, for some junior length red reflective SR4U replacement laces. The red perfectly matched the red accents on the boot. It also has the reflective bits, which I think look really cool. And I went with the junior length just because it's a very shallow lacing system and the stock laces are actually pretty short to begin with. These match the length pretty much perfectly. So if you are interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description. So if you're interested in a pair, be sure to go ahead and check that out. On feet, the Furon 4.0 Pro is actually really, really comfortable. It's a speed boot with a very thin upper, so it has that tight wrap around your foot with really no extra padding to it. So if you're looking for a softness in regards to how they feel, these are not going to provide that. However, they don't feel plasticky in any way at all, which is kind of something I was concerned about based on the look, and an issue that I had with previous generation Furon models. Not a problem with these at all. The upper has good flexibility to it, and they feel relatively natural on your feet. The sole plate definitely has some stiffness to it at first, but that's something that breaks in pretty quickly. And the fit and general lockdown in the heel is also very, very good. So as far as breaking them in is concerned, there's really not too much to worry about. It's more so just a matter of getting used to the way that they fit and feel more than anything. As far as width is concerned, this is the regular width variation of the Furon 4.0. Something that New Balance does pretty much exclusively is they do make a wide fit variation of this shoe as well. That's also available for the same $250 retail price. As far as width is concerned with this regular fit variation, I have about average width feet, slightly flat-footed. They're definitely not overly narrow. I think these have a tight fit to them, but they'll fit most people. If you have really wide feet, I'd probably go for the wide fit variation if this is the boot that you absolutely must have. But for most people, if you're looking for that snug, secure fit on your foot, these are going to fit you most likely very comfortably, and you're going to get a slight amount of stretch from the upper as well as you break them in. As far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing a size 9.5 US, which is typically what I've been wearing in New Balance ever since they first came out. The brand as a whole runs about a half size small, so if you are looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going a half size up in order to achieve the best possible fit. So in conclusion, the Furon 4.0 Pro is easily the best of the Furon models that New Balance has put out so far, and honestly, better than all previous New Balance boots, period. It's thin, it's light, it fits extremely well, which is the first time I can actually say that about a Furon model. It offers a true barefoot sensation that feels legitimately good. It has aggressive traction, it's responsive, it's well locked in, it's comfortable. It is legitimately as good as any other speed boot out there. Are they as light as other speed boots? Not necessarily, but if you're looking for something that is on par in regards to overall performance, as what you're going to find from the Nike Mercurial line, the Adidas X line, even the Puma Futures, which I kind of would consider that to be their speed boot. These are just as good as all those boots, just something a little bit different. So if you're after something different, I can strongly recommend these. If you're wondering about my preference between the two new models from New Balance, the Furon and the Tekela, they're both excellent. I can highly recommend both of them, but I do prefer the Tekela simply because it's not quite as thin. It has a little bit of a softer, more padded sensation, which is kind of more my style. But again, it really does depend on what you're looking for because these are two very solid options. If you guys would like to see a comparison video, let me know down below in the comments. If enough of you guys say that you want to see it, I'll definitely get to making that comparison ASAP. Anyways, guys, that is it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in a pair for yourself, you can click the first link down below. That'll take you to the review page on my website where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $250 retail price in the regular or wide fit variations. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down below in the comments and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks for watching.